Jurors in DeKalb County delivered 5 guilty verdicts against alleged sex cult leader Eligio Bishop. He wasn't in the courtroom to hear the outcome. Fox 5's Tyler Fingert has been following the trial since the beginning, and he takes a closer look tonight at the verdict and how long Bishop will spend behind bars.
Alleged cult leader Eligio Bishop is now a convicted rapist. Just minutes after the verdict was read, he was sentenced to life without the possibility of parole.
I understand that you all have reached a verdict. Is that correct?
After about 6 hours of deliberations, a DeKalb County jury found alleged cult leader Eligio Bishop guilty of all 5 charges he faced, including rape and false imprisonment.
Guilty.
The jury found Bishop raped a former group member as she tried to escape the alleged cult Carbon Nation and then posted revenge porn of the woman online. Bishop wasn't in the courtroom for the verdict because of COVID concerns, but watched from the DeKalb County jail and let out an audible noise before the judge ordered his mic off.
All right. Go ahead and mute courtroom C, please.
A woman who has covered the group online for years believes the jury got it right.
I believe that it's a just verdict. I believe that the courtroom today was very quiet and somber.
Following the verdict, DeKalb County Superior Court Judge Stacey Heydrich moved right into the sentencing hearing where Bishop's victims testified.
He said my soul belonged to him, and there was absolutely no saying no to him.
You were our guy. Now you're a prisoner, like you were a prisoner to us.
Bishop then addressed the judge.
I forgive you, and I still love you.
Judge Heydrich wasn't swayed and sentenced Bishop to life without parole.
Mr. Bishop, you're a master manipulator and probably the classic definition of a narcissist like that I've ever seen. You took advantage of these folks who are essentially lost souls.
Many of his supporters weren't in the courtroom for the verdict, but took issue with the judge's words. They called the case one-sided.
This is a setup. These women are scorned. They are spiteful because they couldn't have Mr. Bishop to himself.
His supporters say he will appeal the conviction. In DeKalb County, Tyler.
Now, if you guys don't know, this is Nature Boy, aka Eligio Bishop. Now, what you just seen was the verdict of him being sentenced to life plus extra time in jail. Now, I don't want to defend Mr. Nature Boy because I'm not. I had my own dealings with him 3 years ago where he lied to me about a certain interview, but he knew I was not really his friend like that, so I was not going to give him a pass like Sonetta TV, Black News 102, which has nothing to do with consciousness because Sonetta is a fake dude as well. I don't care how he feels. I'm going to say they defend monsters in the community such as Nature Boy, Brother Polite, the Umar Johnsons, just a whole lot of other people they support who take advantage of certain communities who don't have certain ways and outlets to seek help for monetary gains or whatever. But with Nature Boy, aka Eligio Bishop, I was kind of baffled at the life sentence. I thought he would have get like 20 years and possibly serve 10, and even that would have been justice, to keep it real. But who am I to tell victims what is proper justice? The only thing that made me baffled is not that I thought Nature Boy is innocent or anything. He is a master manipulative narcissist. He is all these things. I don't know about the great part because I wasn't there. I guess it's about he say, she say, but he gives some traits and forms of things that make him guilty. But my thing with the court system is, how did a brother like that get immediately life and got sentenced less than 22 hours later? You don't really see it with any other cases. I've seen certain people, I'm not trying to make it a thing about black, white, or whatever, but I've seen cases of heinous and horrific act done to our kids, our grandparents, and all that. And these other groups of people only get 10 years, 5 years, 3 years probation, and maybe 20 years. But this man gets, you know what I'm saying, the book thrown at him, as well as he should. But the semantics of the cases, I only wish the juries and the judge would have give this type of sentence to everybody, not just people based on melaninated skin or melanin, whatever you want to call it. But it makes you know the court systems aren't really there for us. And just to let my women know, you can celebrate this victory, moral victory, whatever you call it, but never forget that this judge has shown the world that they despise us, ladies and gentlemen. They despise anything that looks like us, because Geo, whatever he calls himself, Nature Boy, he's guilty of a lot of things. But how does he get the book thrown at him and these other don't? But I'm gonna let the victim speak about his situation.
This is background on what's going on. Okay, well, I just got out of a cult that resides in Atlanta, Georgia currently. The cult leader, his name is Eligio Bishop. This cult is really popular online, is known as a sex cult. Now that I'm out, I'm seeing how mentally ill and abusive it is, and me myself, I am now like coming out and seeing that I am.
That was one of the main victims that started and stirred this whole controversy and case. And not only that, he had a lot of people defending him. He had people defending him outside of court like you've seen in that video. But let's go a little bit more to the case before I go into the ones who defended him. I hope you guys don't mind.
Indictment number 24CR1183, State of Georgia versus Eligio Bishop. On count one, how does the jury find? Count one is rape. Guilty. And count two, false imprisonment. Guilty. Count three, prohibition on nude or sexually explicit electronic transmissions. Guilty. Count four, prohibition on nude or sexually explicit electronic transmissions. Guilty. And count five, prohibition on nude or sexually explicit electronic transmissions. Guilty. All right. And it is signed and dated by you as the foreperson. Correct. Thank you very much. All right. I'm going to have the deputy provide the verdict form to the state and to the defense for them to review.
Jeez Louise, these things can go twists and turns, and you're gonna learn. And not only that, his defenders before he got sentenced really came out in droves to defend him.
He's extremely loving, extremely forgiving. Literally wouldn't hurt a fly.
This man, who goes by Captain Ace, says he's part of the group Carbon Nation. Ace calls Bishop the head of the international organization.
This is one of the most troubling experiences I've ever had.
Ace described Carbon Nation as a religious philosophy based on science, focused on living a life of principles and morals. He joined the group about 4 years ago.
I met him online. That was my initial contact with him. I seen that
no one is going to hold you against your will here.
Sexual education, and we believe in nudity.
Yes.
And so that's one of the charges that's trying to be brought against my chief, is for revenge porn. But the female that was here, the woman that was here, she gave consent to actually release it for sexual education. It's not just like porn, it's for educational purposes.
I did.
He's extremely loving, extremely forgiving. Literally.
So clearly members of the Carbon Nation community are outraged and they don't like any of it. But I've been watching the narcissist behaviors of Nature Boy for years, well over a decade, and he says weird things like this.
I got my wings, sir.
What kind of wings are you talking about, brother? Flying wings, invisible? What kind of wings are you talking about, man?
Wings of a butterfly that form from a caterpillar. Butterflies don't conversate with caterpillars.
Yeah, we gotta stop that. But he goes on to explain how people should think, and I guess this is the manipulative part of Nature Boy.
Okay. How to think. How can I tell you how to think when you're already thinking? Well, we're conscious beings. So it's granted that we're thinking. Okay.
And that's just the thing. He has so many different travels of things. And I don't know if this is going to be defending him or going against him. I'm just playing a video to tell you guys what he said his thoughts are on women.
You definitely sitting up there like the king and eating grapes and all that shit. So,
right.
Nepal, sit down. Go ahead, man. Yes, go ahead, man.
I have a lot of questions. I mean, the last thing I was wondering about is the homosexuality. I'm wondering, if he's a god, what about the women that you're calling Orishas? Are they also gods?
They are goddesses in training. Like me, they
goddesses in training. I'm sorry. Sorry, I interrupted.
Sorry, I was
So
trying
he
to
called his
translate that
women,
for you in your language.
he called his women goddess in training and all that, but if they're really in training, what was this part right here?
He did it was posted a couple videos of you without your consent, right? On Twitter. Anything else?
He also had his women abuse me, like jump me. So that's another thing.
So with Nature Boy, he might be innocent, he might be guilty. I don't know. He did this to himself. Why would you release videos of sexual intercourse with alleged members who have been hurt by you? Well, we can't say alleged anymore, even though the court of law ruled. But these are some of the weird things to go, man. I'm your guy, DJ Bless One, the best one. I'm about to get out of here. This whole case been weird, and the justice system itself been weird. I'm glad they defend melanated sisters, but I wish they really did it for real and not just to chase headlines, because I don't trust the justice system. Nope. Bye.